plus other valuable information about property and real estate. And please know that while we're giving information and advice that we believe to be accurate, we recommend that you make thorough checks before entering into any deals. It's important. And joining us as always is Val the Builder, Val Musoni, who runs a property company for renovations and home improvement. She does interior design, project management and property development. She studied real estate at the University of Cape Town and project planning and management at the University of Zimbabwe. Hey Val, good morning.
Good morning, V Candy. How are you this morning?
I'm good, thank you. How was your weekend?
Oh, my weekend was great.
Yeah?
Yes, thank you.
So we left off, where we had completed the council submissions and the house plans were approved and inspection stages paid for. So after this process, Val, because you said we should then submit to council, it already involved. It's an important part of the plan itself. Yeah. So what's next? Or maybe just a quick recap and then we get to what's next.
All right, thank you very much for that. So last week we were discussing the various stages. We talked about the architect, the responsibility of the architect, and then submission, the requirements from City Council that you have to meet before you start the building process. So you submit your plans. Those are the working drawings for the builder, and they will look at them, approve. If they disapprove, they ask you to amend certain things. They'll pay attention to, they'll just advise you what you're supposed to do. And after that process is done, when they have approved the plans, that's when you pay for your building stages. So that's when the actual building starts on site.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's where we are today.
Yes.
The building stage.
Yes, that's right.
All right, let's get into it, Val.
All right. So with the building stage, with building, I think we'll be going to, back and forth. You start with the clearing of the land, because the land could have vegetation, trees, where you want to put your house. So you need to clear the land first. But before we get into the clearing of the land, if, let's say, the terrain is very steep, it's not always that you get flat land. So maybe it's hilly, or there's high, low ground. Then you have to get the architect to consult the land surveyor to give you what is called a topo survey. So this topo survey enables the architect to see the terrain, to understand what the ground looks like, and she will take that into her, she will take consideration of the levels into her design process. Remember, we're talking about the initial and schematic design process, the design concept. So she will then include that in her design process. And once she's done that, she'll get an engineer as well to work with, so that he will do all the necessary drawings to make sure that whatever she has designed, will be built on the piece of land. Whatever the structural amendments or structural designs that are required, that he will take care of that. So after that, when the engineer has done the drawings, they submit to council, and once approved, that's when you start the building process. So yes, clearing of the land, removing any vegetation, removing any trees, so that you can go into stage 2. Stage 2 is the setting out. The setting out is when you actually mark the boundaries according to council regulation. There are boundaries that you need to observe, and you have to make sure that you have aligned with the regulations, because if you don't, that's when you get into trouble, and the demolitions and a whole lot of issues can arise if you don't observe those boundaries. And then that's when you also just start to peg where the actual house is going to be, where the trenches will be, where the actual walls will be, there is what they call a profile. So they actually require you to have a profile erected, and that will show you the trenches and to show you where the walls will be. It's to help you. It's easier to work with a profile because it actually just shows you where to dig and to get things right.
So if you're just tuning in, it is a Galaxy Property. You can also hit us up on our WhatsApp platform if you have any questions. We're also live on Facebook, by the way, if you have any questions regarding this. So, Val, I hear a lot about substructure and superstructure. What is the difference?
All right. The substructure is that part of the building that is under the ground that you don't see. That's the foundation. I think that's commonly known as the foundations. And this is so important. Remember, I mentioned the engineer. The engineer is also involved, times, especially if it's a double story, because there's reinforcement that needs to be done. If it's also, like special soils and special foundation, if the ground is not firm enough, then you have to reinforce it with steel and concrete. So the substructure is where the house starts. We do not see it, but that's how the house starts. And this then is what the house, the walls, or the superstructure will stand on. So you have to make sure that your foundations are very firm and they're done properly. Council has to be involved in that. You cannot do foundations without having council to come and to check that you've done it properly, and comparing also with the engineer drawings that everything is being done well. And then the superstructure is what we see on the ground. So the substructure, they build it up to ground level, and then the superstructure from the floor going up. That's the superstructure, and that's what we see ordinarily, like even in these offices. We are, the house starts from the ground going up, and that will involve your lintels, your columns, your ring beam, the doors, windows, roof, etc. That's the superstructure.
So as you said, council has to be involved, and I want to know which stages, in the building process do you then make request for the council inspector to visit the site for the inspections?
Starting from stage one. In fact, I did say stage one is the clearance. So let's say from stage two, the setting out. When you have marked the boundaries and you've erected your profile, that's when they come to check that you have done it properly. So they'll compare with what the architect has on the drawings and what the builder has done. And if they're happy, then they ask you to go ahead to stage, we'll call it stage 3 at this stage, and they will sign. They have to sign on the plans that they have approved. So you can't move to stage 3 if they haven't approved.
Okay. So it's every stage you then get the approval and then you move on to the next stage.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct, yes.
So how about those people, who are building and maybe there's someone, who is taking care of the construction itself, saying it's already sorted. Do you then have to involve yourself as the owner of the property to say, maga consult council and stuff?
Yes, it's your responsibility to make sure that the contractor is doing it right. Remember, I mentioned the importance of a project manager. At times you are not available to be checking on the house yourself, or you're not even in the country, or you do not know. You're not aware of these stages, and you are relying on your contractor to build the house for you because you trust them. So if you have a project manager, they will be the ones making sure that the stages are being done properly, and being signed for by council, so that there are no mistakes and there's no one to blame. You need that assurance. It's part of the due diligence in construction. So due diligence does not end with buying the land. You still continue to make sure that your house is being built well. So you need someone to stand in for you If you don't have someone and you're doing it by yourself, make sure you involve council.
Okay.
Yes.
Council has to be involved.
Yes, and your contractor is supposed to be registered with council.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, they issue them with a permit.
So how do you get that? How do you know that they're registered?
You know, when you go to pay for your stages, the contractor they also fill in, you know, you're supposed to advise them who the contractor is.
Yeah.
They fill in a form as well, and they pay for their, you know, license as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So they pay a fee, a yearly fee, for with council, and they have to be approved by council.
All right.
Yes.
So I guess maybe
So you can't pay for the stages.
a lot of
if the
people are not
contractor
doing
is
it
not.
above board, eh? So maybe that's why we then get to that, you know, scenario where the houses are being demolished because you skipped all the stages that are expected.
That's correct. Yeah. Most people would just listen to what the builder is saying, what the contractor is saying, and say, no, don't worry, we've got it under control. But you need to make sure. Now that's why we are here talking about this, you know, giving people tips and nuggets on how to do things. Ask, you know, those who've done it as well, how did you do it? And be aware of, you know, the pitfalls so that you don't fall into the traps. So you need to make sure. Don't, a lot of people, they think by consulting council, you're going to delay the project. You know, they demand too much. No, you must make sure that they're involved right from the beginning when you start building the house. Because if they come to the land and then they find that the walls are not being done properly, maybe it's supposed to be a 230 wall, and the builder has put a 115 wall. 230 basically means a double wall, especially for the walls, the outside walls, they have to be 230. It depends where you're building. In high densities, you find that they allow the single walls, but in the northern suburbs, they want the 230 walls. So it also depends with the building itself.
And the location?
The design of the building will also dictate, you know, the location. Very, very important for people to know. The inside walls are usually just the single walls. That is the 115.
Okay.
Yes, but exterior walls, you know, those are the double walls.
It is Galaxy Property right here on the Morning Galaxy on Star FM with Val the Builder, and we are 2 minutes from the news, Val. Maybe just your parting short, just the information that you're leaving us with regards to this topic that we're looking at today, and your details as well.
All right. Thank you, V Candy. Just to say to those who want to construct their own houses, make sure you've done all that is necessary to have your plans approved. Go to council and even talk to them if you're not sure. Their offices are open. You can go and ask what is required so that you know exactly, even before you get your contractor to go and register or to start building your house. And if you need further information, please do not hesitate to contact me on 0772 273 888. And this is Val the Builder. I'm also a project manager. I manage projects. I don't have to be building your house, but I can manage your project. And we do interior design and turnkey projects. That is from start to end, building the house to finishes, and we'll just give you the key to get into your house.
Fantastic. Val the
Yes.
Builder. Thank you so much. Galaxy Property. We do this again next Monday. We're also live on Facebook. You can share this with someone. You can go watch it in case you missed the start of it.